If you've seen any of my videos so far, you'll know that my intention with these videos is to lay out the full picture of these spiritual concepts that I've found in my time in the Word, and penetrating hearts for the purpose of encouraging, making people feel less lonely, helping people articulate, things that are deep in their heart that maybe it helps to kind of be able to bring those things from the heart to the mind so that we can contend with them, so that we know what's going on in ourselves. That's the intention of most of my videos. Tonight, always the intention is to encourage and to educate. But tonight I want to speak about something that's perhaps a bit darker. This has been something that I have, in my deep study of Revelation, come to, and I just was like, okay, well, I'm not sure about that, but it seems like that, but I'm not sure. This week I became sure about something. As you may know also, I have a deep hunger and passion for the old prophets. And there's something I noticed when I was in Jeremiah this week. I've been in Jeremiah for a couple months now. And I looked for that same concept and pattern in a bunch of the prophets, and I found it. And I think there's more than I've even found. But the thing that made the hair on my arm stand up is what I found in Revelation that pertains to all of those things. Let me just get right into it. So the verse I was in Jeremiah was Jeremiah 10:14, and it says, "Everyone is senseless and without knowledge. Every goldsmith is shamed by his idols. His images are a fraud. They have no breath in them." And that word breath in Hebrew is ruach, and it's the same breath that God breathed into us to make man out of dirt. It's life, it's spirit. It is that which animates the body and the soul. And it's eternal. So bear in mind, these images are a fraud, talking about idols. And they would make with their hands like wooden or metal or gold or any of these things. They would create this thing to bow to as their God. It has no breath in it. Now, let's do the Psalm one first. Psalm 135, 15. "The idols of the nations are silver and gold, made by the hands of men, the work of our hands. They have mouths but cannot speak." Keep that in mind. "Eyes but they cannot see. They have ears but cannot hear, nor is there breath in their mouths." Again, that word, I looked it up, is ruach. Okay, so now we're seeing a pattern. No breath, cannot speak. Let's go to Habakkuk. Habakkuk 2:18. "Of what value is an idol, since a man has carved it, or an image that teaches lies? For he who makes it trusts in his own creation, the work of his hands." He makes idols that cannot speak. Again, cannot speak. "Woe to him who says to wood, 'Come to life, animate yourself,' or to lifeless stone, 'Wake up,'" which is what God says to us a lot. "Can it give guidance? Is it covered with gold and silver? There is no breath in it." Ruach. And there's more. But all three of those verses and passages, two things. Has no breath, ruach, has no life in it, cannot speak. So all throughout human history, we have created our own gods that don't even have life in them, because we can't create life. Only God can, right? and they can't even speak. So really, what we're doing is we're worshiping ourselves, and we're putting something in as like a middleman. We're putting something there as acting like we're bowing to a god, but really we're bowing to the works of our own hands. That is our salvation. We can save ourselves. Now we go to Revelation 13. Speaking of the beast and the false prophet of the end times. Listen carefully. Revelation 13, let's start at 14. Because of the signs, he was given power to do on behalf of the first beast, meaning the false prophet. So the false prophet is being given power to do what the first beast wants. He deceived the inhabitants of the earth. He ordered them to set up an image. Remember those verses? Image, it said. In honor of the beast who was wounded by the sword, yet he lived. And here we go. He, the false prophet, was given power to give breath. Give breath to the image of the first beast. Image again. So that it could speak. He was given power to give breath to the first image of the first beast so that it could speak. So what this is saying is that the beast of the end times, at the very end of humanity, for the first time in all of human history, we create an idol, a false god, that has breath and can speak. For the first time, we, in our fallen state, remind you, breathe life into a thing. And who was given power to do it? The false prophet. What do you think that could be? I think it's obvious. But there's only one thing that could be. And we're this close. And there's a lot of whistleblowers in that AI industry, the tech companies, who people are quitting because they're saying that they think they're summoning a demon. That's a quote. And wouldn't that just make sense, huh? Because what we've always wanted to do is be our own God and be able to have the ability to create life like God does. And guess who else's intention that has always been? Satan's. So this is what we see on our side. But the real battle, the true mission of evil, is in the unseen realm. What does Satan want? God's throne. What is Satan that Paul called him? The god of this world. And what is Satan's biggest issue? Of course, he wants to control the whole world, so what's his problem? Well, it's the same headache God has to deal with, our free will. God has set this world up to where Satan he can only use people who are willing to be used. For example, the AI tech. Why, even though we know this could be a very big problem, even people who aren't a Christian and haven't read Revelation, they're like, this could be a big problem. Pump the brakes. Why aren't we? A mixture of pride and fear. One side says selfish ambition. A lot of those people who are at the cutting edge of that tech, even if they think it might be bad for the world, they want to make a name for themselves. They want the success that comes with it. They want that $1 billion for the first person who makes it happen. And the other side says, well, what if China gets it first? We have to keep going. Fear. And so that's how Satan operates. If you have any little corner or piece or chunk of your heart that is willing to be prideful or willing to act in fear or willing to act in envy, that's that corner of your heart that Satan will use against you and the people around you. But he has to have that. Satan cannot inhabit a person that is not willing. It's just like demon possession. You can't cast out a demon in a person who wants it in there. First step is they have to want it to be gone. Your will has to align with the removal of evil in your heart. And oftentimes we're not even all the way aware how willing we are. Good base questions is, are you willing to lose everything? It's really strange. I'm hearing some whistling behind me. In the middle of the night. This is being shot from the van. That's okay. So we have the big problem, our free will. So could you say that if Satan was able to break into this world in such a way that he didn't have to work from the unseen realm and these rules that God has laid out for him, if there was a way to break through the fourth wall, tear the veil between our world and his, and enter our world as one of us in a way, well, then he could do things without our approval. He could break our free will then, just like we can all break each other's free will. If the police want to arrest me and I don't want to be arrested, tough, I'm getting arrested. Rules are different in between. Once you're here in this world, rules are different. But from the unseen realms, you cannot inhabit anybody who's not willing. And so look what happens. At the end of time, finally Satan does tear through the veil and is given life into a thing that inhabits our world like one of us. And that's how you can get these. The beast was given a mouth to utter proud words and blasphemies and to exercise his authority. He opened his mouth to blaspheme God. He was given power to make war against the Satans. The dragon gave the beast his power and his throne and great authority. So there it is. At the very end of time, in the end times, Satan breaks through. The beast is AI, enters and is how Satan tears the veil and enters our world. And it is us, we humans, that are creating this. And we are nearly there. So right now, the AI industry is ruled the old-fashioned way, through receptive hearts. But that won't be long before that changes. And it is... I have a lot more on this topic. Generally, I don't do stuff like this just because, I don't know, there's a lot to it. You can go down a rabbit hole and never come out, sort of thing. But the Lord has been giving me some deep insight into the details of the time coming. So maybe I'll make more videos about this, perhaps about who is the whore Babylon at the end. What is the beast system? What does that look like here on earth? What does it mean, the restrainer in 2 Thessalonians? Little hint here. It says in 2 Thessalonians 2 that the lawless one is working his way, but he won't really truly step out into the world until the restrainer is pulled out, withdrawn. And then you see in Matthew 24:15, you see this scene where once you see the abomination that causes desolation standing in the holy place, run. I think it's because that's the moment the restrainer is withdrawn from the world. And that very moment, don't even go downstairs to grab something is what God says. And it's because in that moment, whatever is restraining people from letting evil inhabit them all the way, if they're willing, that restrainer won't be there anymore. I'm talking, I visualize, people coming at each other with a knife in their own home type of thing. Mother against daughter, father against son. And we're in for a lot of heartbreak. When that mark of the beast comes. And we're surprised in both ways. Surprised by people who betray us and take the mark. And surprised maybe even more by the people we never expected will stand up. Just take a moment with me to realize just how wild it is that we've been chosen to be part of the end. The last 2 seconds on the clock of humanity. The last generation. Not only the last generation, but it seems like we're within years, not very many it seems, before this veil between our worlds is torn. And it's going to look like everything is lost. All is lost. The enemy won. If any of you are interested in me making a detailed video about who I think the false prophet of the end times is, let me know. But I'm not going to make it otherwise, because I don't want people going down rabbit holes. But I think that's really clear now too.